G'day, my name's Pete, and today I'm going to be working on this jade tree. This is a 21-year-old tree. It's the mother to the other tree I planted from here couple of 3-4 months ago. I've had this in the pot for 2.5 months, I'd say. This is the growth that it's got on it over that time. Now, I'm debating on what to do with it. I've never had something this big before, and I'm not really sure on how to train it, but I'm sort of thinking of keeping as pads on it and have a pad here rather than extending the tree out further. I'm not sure. I really am not. So I'm gonna cut it with a couple of options for the future. Like I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So we'll treat it we're giving the tree a couple of options for the future. All right. Now let's check this camera view. It's not too bad a camera view there. Right, so let's go with this particular branch first, and if I'm gonna have a pad of growth on it, it's got to be up here, right? So none of this is really necessary. But what if I decide to cut this whole piece off and start the growth from here? I'm not sure. I really am not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some growth on it and get rid of other growth, as I said already anyway, but we'll just trim down. We're going to trim it right down. Especially upwards growth anyway, we don't want the upwards growth. This one's got to go because it's growing in towards the rest of the trunk. I'm going to keep that one and let that grow out. Just in case I do chop that off, I'll have a branch growing. This one I'll weigh down as another option for a branch. This one here I'm going to weigh down as well for the same reason, just to get some growth going, prepared for growing outwards if that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to have growth going there, but I can grow it out this way, so if I trim that off it'll flurry out. A lot of the growth I want to keep on the top, but just let it grow out. I'm not really sure if it's the best idea, but I'm not really, I don't know, so we're just going to give it a shot, see what we get over time from now, how it's looking with what I've done. I'll just re-trim again later if I need to. Alright, and here we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep a branch to grow out, keep that branch. I think that's a nice branch to grow out, and then train. And this one here might be too. So we'll get rid of the others that probably don't need to be there, which is going to be everything that's close to that, like so. Bottom dweller gone. Right. So I'll let that grow out that way. And that's all I'm going to do for that. This one here, it's the same story. I've got some nice growth around on this thing. I'll do the same thing and I'll trim it right back and see what happens with it. I think that might be getting too big there. Just deciding on what. I might have to get rid of all of that. And decide on keeping one of these. I like this one, so I'll get rid of this one. Can't have a bottom. I don't want that one growing there, or that one on the end, like that. So we'll just let that grow out. We're going to let that one grow out. We're going to trim that one back. We'll trim that one right down, and that one right down. Because we're trying, like I said, deciding on whether this is going to be a pad of growth just on its own as part of the tree, which sort of makes sense to me that that's what I would do, but I could be wrong. I'm going to probably take this to the Bonsai Club and get a second opinion on it at some stage. Shrink it. And yeah, that's probably all I'm going to do on that. We'll just, we don't need bottom growth, so they can go, and that can go. Right. Just want to keep it under control. Plus, all the growth that I don't need, it's taking energy away from the tree on keeping the tree growing. So now this branch here, I'm thinking of wiring. So I'll wire this one up in case I do want to extend from the main, this trunk. So we're just going to let that go and give that a bit of wire. And if that's the case, I think I'm going to have to get rid of those ones there because we don't want them growing there. We'll let them go doubled out, and we'll see how that looks in a bit. Now this could be a nice little pad. I'll do the same here. I'll let this one grow out. Give it some shape and see how that looks for the tree. And all of these will just trim right back and we'll see what happens. As far as getting little pads of growth on the top. That might have to go. This one is a real trial and error. I really don't know what I'm doing with this. I've got two little shoots starting to grow out from there, so I'll let them. Same there. If it's going to be my pad of growth, that's nice. That'd be nice. We don't want bottom dwellers, so we'll get rid of them. Keep that. Trim that. Don't want. Let me see if I'm in the camera view. Change it up a bit. This one here is in the nook. We don't want to have it in the nook of a tree. That can get brought back, and we're going to do the same here. Just shrink it all back. And see what happens. Growing in, probably don't need it growing inwards. So we'll get rid of all them. I've trimmed it a bit. Everything will get double branches coming out off of it, so hopefully that'll be good. Now this thing here is just too long, straight up. Just got to go. Might be able to, no, get rid of the whole knob. Get rid of all of it. Too far back. Another nook of the tree, but again, if I decide to cut this, if I decide to cut this knob off as well, I might be able to either cut it off completely. I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking of either cutting that off completely or keeping. I'm not sure. So anything growing up, we don't want it longer. We want it to expand with growth. All right. We'll let that all go. Probably don't need that one there. That could go. Doesn't matter. Like everything will regrow anyway. It's just amazing how well everything just keeps growing back. Okay, so that's it. That's all the trimming I'm doing. I think I want the growth that's here now to keep growing out. I'm going to wire that and wire that. And see what happens with it. They can get cut back. Make sure I've got it in view, eh? Yeah, cut that back to there. All trial and error. This tree, never had one so big. Like, I've got I mean, I've got others, but they're not like this. This one is definitely different. Oh, it looks like I've broken a branch there. There we go. Alright. Now the other thing I've done a bit of and I want to do some more of is I want to try and rot it out further down, but I'm doing it in stages. So I've got a nice sharp knife. Seeing if I can get a bit of view with this camera as well. It doesn't look like I can. So I'm just going to scratch out further. I want it to rot. We'll get this thing rotting away. So okay, so that one will hopefully rot. I'll scrape at it a bit in a minute. I think I want to do the same with this one as well and have it rot further. So I've already scarred it, but we want to scar it more. I want to make sure it rots. Okay, so I think that's it for as far as that. I'll just use my chisel. Doesn't have to be pretty because it'll rot away on its own anyway. I'm just trying to make sure it's got something to start on to help rot it. Yeah. So we'll see what that does. I think if I'm going to keep it, I think it'd be better with it rotting out further. Same with this one. Don't know if I'll be able to raise. Oops. I don't know if I'll be able to raise this up. It's already dropped because it's a very heavy tree. Just want to try and get some footage of me carving at it. I'm hacking at it more than carving, I'd say. Oops. Right. That's going to do that. It's hacked that, and it will rot better now. The weather will get to it and help cause it to rot out further. So that's all right. Now the only other thing is just maybe putting a bit of wire on those couple of branches that I wouldn't mind having shaped up. Am I getting footage? Probably right in its way. So here we go. Okay, that'll do for that. Let's do this side. I'll make sure I'm in view. Let's move this around like that. We'll wire this one up. Okay, and that will do for that. Better than nothing. We'll just give it a bit of shape. Bend it down. Bring it back up. Bring it around. For now, that will do there. Do the same for this one here. We like to have it go down a bit, then back up, and we'll leave that one like that. We'll see how it looks over time. As long as I keep an eye on it, I can rearrange the wire if I'm not happy with the way it is. But there you go. We could put sinkers on them. So I've got some small enough sinkers. Since they're so small and so new growth that I'm trying to work with, I'm going to just use these little sinkers here. They'll hold them couple of days, the gravity will help bring it down. We'll do this one as well, same thing. A couple of days and the gravity will bring that down. And I'm sure there were some others that I thought might be worth wiring. Here, this one. Let's see where it is. The camera view. We'll do the same with that one. If it doesn't drop enough, I'll put another sinker, or we'll put a bigger sinker on, whatever is necessary. So we'll let that go down like that. We'll do the same with that one there. I'll bend out. The front and back of the tree, if these stay and they rot out nicely, I think this could be a nice front of the tree. But like I said, I may end up cutting that off and just having that possibility. We'll see, because then I can do the same thing there. I can cut it off there and rot it here and give it a nice look. But anyway, that's all I'm doing. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.